So, you want to plant in the desert into this? I don't think so. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here in February of 2024. Now if you guys live here in Arizona or a similar climate, you know that when you go to grow something in the ground, you're dealing with this. You know, this is really just dirt. I would not call this soil because there's nothing alive in here, and that's what I like to think of when I think of soil. You know, something that's got worms growing in it, it's black or dark brown soil, smells amazing. Life, essentially. So if you're going to be planting into soil like this, and fruit trees need to be able to grow into this, you need to do a little bit of prep work first before you plant that tree. So we really want to talk about 3 key things you need to make sure that you're going to be able to plant those trees in a nice, comfortable home and start building soil right away. Most important thing for us here in the desert is, of course, water. You don't have any life at all without water. So we always like to make sure we have irrigation run before we start planting, and you're gonna need it for this soil prep process as well. Now you can bring it in by hand, you can do it by bucket, but running some type of irrigation really is your best bet. The area that we're working in today is at the front of the farm. This is where we have all of our evergreens. Now we marked this spot here for trees we're gonna be planting here this fall. So we got a lot of time. So now one of the things you'll notice here, we already have some amazing soil. Ooh, that's already started to generate just from broken down wood chips. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull all this back. Oh, wait a minute. I got worms. Look at that. All right, I got distracted. Well, I talked about soil. I guess we've got soil here. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna make sure that we're continuing to maintain the soil in this particular spot because we already have some activity here, but I wanna make sure we have even more. So if you're doing this on just bare ground, some type of nutrition is really ideal for the area immediately where you're planting and around that. So what we're gonna use is something that we make here on the farm. Ingredient number 2 for prepping desert soil, I will tell you, this one, if you don't have access to it or you're gonna be planting very quickly, maybe you'll skip this one. But we prefer to make sure that we have some nutrition that's going down into the soil in the surrounding area. And while you're doing this prep work, it's ideal for something like this. So what we have here, we actually have some old spent bedding that we have from our goats. So this has a lot of manure and also urine inside hay. Now, if you're prepping for fruit trees, hay is not a problem. If it's for garden beds, that's a different story. I'd probably skip this, only because you could actually have some herbicides in here that have passed through the animal, and it could actually cause issues, especially with annual veggies. So we're not doing that here with fruit trees. This isn't an issue. Now, if you don't have this, any type of organic fertilizer would really be ideal. The whole idea here is you want to start to kind of kickstart some of the soil life and biology here at soil level as you're prepping this ground for those fruit trees to come in. Again, if you have some time, we've got several months before we're planting. If you don't have a lot of time, this is one step you probably would skip. So the 3 things for prepping desert soil for planting: water, nutrition. The 3rd thing, it's probably obvious what's behind me here, cover. You need to have something that's going to keep the soil temperature down, keep the moisture on the ground, that's going to penetrate the hard dirt that we have out here, start prepping that soil for planting, softens it up and conditions it quite a bit. And then, of course, the wood chips are going to start to break down and give you some wonderful soil that's going to start building on top of your dirt. So the third thing would be cover. You have to cover the soil no matter what you do, especially in a desert environment like this. It does so many wonderful things. Now, wood chips are pretty easy to come by, especially if you're in the city. A little further out in the sticks, maybe not so much, but you definitely could use chip drop or something similar. You can drop literally a few tons of wood chips on your property. So cover the ground nice and heavy. We've got about a foot or so of cover on top of the soil. So all of this will over time break down, keep the soil moisture, and really start to make actual soil and keep that soil life and biology going. So again, to recap, 3 things to prep desert soil for planting. Number 1, gotta have water. Number 2, which is optional, some type of nutrition on the ground. And number 3, plenty of cover. We got a lot of you guys out there that have probably done this a time or two. If you guys have a great way to prep desert soil, would love to see that down in the comments. But we just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on this newly established functioning farm in the Arizona desert and would love to see you on a regular basis. If you have any questions or comments, those go in the comments section down below. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.